So guys, we'll be continuing here in the disorders of tyrosine metabolism. The first one is your phenylketonuria, and it is because of the deficiency of enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. So phenylketonuria causes accumulation of the phenylalanine into the tissues and blood, since phenylalanine is not converted into tyrosine. So phenylalanine is diverted to alternative pathways, resulting in the excess production of the phenyl pyruvate, phenyl acetate, phenyl lactate and phenyl glutamine. All these metabolites are excreted in high concentration in the patient of phenylketonuria, and phenyl lactate, phenyl acetate gives the urine a mousy odor. So in the next video I'll be showing you the alternate mechanism. Like you can appreciate, whenever this phenylalanine this is interrupted and is not converted to tyrosine, then it will get converted into phenyl lactate, phenyl acetate as well as phenyl glutamine. So this is how the cycle will move. So clinical manifestation of phenylketonuria will be like there will be an effect on the pigmentation, or since melanin is not formed, and effect on the central nervous system. Diagnosis of phenylketonuria: sometimes the question is asked, what is Guthrie's test, a new question that is used for detecting phenylalanine levels in the serum, or ferric chloride says that test, that is phenyl pyruvate in the urine can be detected by a ferric chloride test. So the treatment for the phenylketonuria: now since the phenylalanine is not converted into tyrosine, what will be the treatment? Because there will be excessive accumulation of phenylalanine, so the dietary intake of phenylalanine should be adjusted, means you should take less phenylalanine. Tyrosine is provided in the diet, so tyrosine becomes an essential amino acid in case of phenylketonuria, since it cannot be synthesized. And administration of 5-hydroxytryptophan and dopa to restore the synthesis of the serotonin and catecholamine, since catecholamines are not being formed and dopamine is not formed, T3 T4 is not formed, catecholamines are not formed, so we are going to give them as a substitute. Next is tyrosinemia type 2. This is also another name for it is Richner-Hanhart syndrome, and this is due to the defect in the enzyme tyrosine transaminase. So whenever there is a defect in the tyrosine transaminase, there is tyrosinemia type 2. This occurs accumulation and accumulation and excretion of tyrosine and its metabolites, and tyrosinemia type 2 is characterized by skin dermatitis, eye lesion and rarely a mental retardation. So here you can see in this table, that is your second step, that is your tyrosine transaminase. So because of the tyrosine transaminase, tyrosine is more, and this step is blocked in tyrosinemia type 2, and this step is blocked, and this step is blocked in case of phenylketonuria, this in tyrosinemia type 2. So let's move next. Next is neonatal tyrosinemia, and it occurs because of the deficiency of enzyme p-hydroxyphenyl pyruvate dioxygenase. So this is an enzyme, and you can very well appreciate this is the third enzyme here at this step. So this leads to neonatal tyrosinemia, so you should be just knowing basic part for it. And next is your alkaptonuria. A large number of questions are asked on alkaptonuria or black urine disease, and here the deficient enzyme is homogentisate oxidase that is involved in your tyrosine metabolism, and because of this, when homogentisate is not metabolized, it gets accumulates into the tissues and blood and is excreted in urine, and they can ask you the question, which enzyme is a deficient in your alkaptonuria? So the answer will be your homogentisate oxidase. And whenever homogentisate accumulates, it gets oxidized to quinolones, which gives it a black or brown color, and that is why the urine of alkaptonuric patient is coke in color. So the question can be asked, the urine is coke in color, defective enzyme and accumulation of homogentisate. So here you can see that homogentisate gets accumulated and it forms L-captone which binds to tissues, and L-captonuria happens. So biochemical manifestations for L-captonuria, there are two basic on which the question is asked. One is phenylketonuria and another is your L-captonuria. So homogentisate oxidase get oxidized to benzoquinone acetate, which undergoes polymerization to form L-captone. I have seen you in the figure that that homogentisate is going to form benzoquine acetate and then it is going to form an L-captone. So this is the first point. Next point is that this L-captone gets deposited in the connective tissue, bones and various organs, resulting in the condition called as onchronosis, and it is diagnosed by the change in the color of the urine and it turns out to be black or brown. So we are done with the neonatal tyrosinemia. We are done with your phenylketonuria, tyrosinemia type 2 and your L-captonuria. The fifth one is tyrosinemia type 1, and another name of tyrosinemia type 1 is tyrosinosis, and it is because of the deficiency of enzyme fumaryl acetoacetate hydroxylase. So nothing much. The questions are most commonly asked on your phenylketonuria and your L-captonuria. Tyrosinosis is another name of tyrosinemia type 1, you should be knowing. Next is an albinism. Albinism is a disease caused because of the tyrosine metabolic disorder, because melanin is a pigment that is formed because of the metabolism of your tyrosine, and that is responsible for the color. So whenever there is an inborn error, there is lack of synthesis of the melanin, and the deficiency is because of the tyrosinase enzyme that is responsible for the synthesis of the melanin, and when melanin is not formed, there occurs hypopigmentation, and the hypopigmentation can be diffused, that is called as oculocutaneous albinism, or this can be localized called as leukoderma or vitiligo. So albinism is again an error because of your tyrosine metabolism. So the basically the diseases were your phenylketonuria, tyrosinemia type 1, tyrosinemia type 2, neonatal tyrosinemia, and your albinism and L-captonuria. So these were the diseases, and next we come to the next amino acid. So we are done with the glycine, we are done with the phenylalanine, and indirectly with the tyrosine also. Next is tryptophan, and tryptophan is an essential amino acid. You have to remember it because tryptophan is not provided in the diet, it has to be taken in the form of supplements, and it is both glucogenic as well as ketogenic in nature. So I have given you a mnemonic for glucogenic and ketogenic is PIT2, phenylalanine, isoleucine, tyrosine and tryptophan. So we are done with the phenylalanine and tyrosine. We have seen that they are both gluco and keto, and another is tryptophan, both gluco and ketogenic. So important precursor for the synthesis of NAD, NADP, serotonin and melatonin. So you have to remember melanin is produced by tyrosine and melatonin is produced by your tryptophan. The metabolism of tryptophan is divided into two pathways, that is kynurenine and serotonin pathway, that's it. So melatonin is by tryptophan, melanin is by tyrosine. So here you can very well appreciate that tryptophan is going to form serotonin, and serotonin will form melatonin and 5-hydroxyindole acetic acid. So in case of urgent epinoma, that is known as carcinoid syndrome, the more serotonin is produced. When more serotonin is produced, more 5-hydroxyindole acetic acid is formed. So they can ask you that in case of urgent epinoma, what is going to be more? More is 5-hydroxyindole acetic acid. Another thing that it is going to form is your NAD and NADP. It is going to form NAD, NADP, serotonin, melatonin and 5-hydroxyindole acetic acid. Since it forms glucose and fat both, that is why it is both glycogenic and ketogenic. So one is its kynurenine pathway, So this pathway is mostly occur in the liver and leading to the oxidation of tryptophan and synthesis of NAD and NADP. And due to the lack of PLP kynurenase, this reaction is blocked, and here it is diverted to form xanthurenate. Nothing much you have to remember about it. And the defects in the activity of kynurenine causes the reduced synthesis of NAD and NADP from the tryptophan. And the symptoms of pellagra are observed because when niacin is less, pellagra is seen, and tryptophan is finally converted into acetyl CoA, which is either completely oxidized in 3CA cycle or it is converted to the fat. So carbohydrate cycle is involved or fatty acid cycle is involved. That's why it's both glycogenic as well as ketogenic. And here comes the tryptophan, where you can see and you can very well appreciate that this is a tryptophan leading to the formation of NAD and NAD positive as well as acetyl CoA. That's why it's ketogenic. And this is your kynurenine pathway that is happening and leading to the production of the NAD or NADP. This is your serotonin pathway leading to the formation of your melatonin. And so let's come. Serotonin is also known as 5-hydroxy tryptamine, and it is basically synthesized from your tryptophan. So they can ask you a question that serotonin is synthesized from tryptophan. The brain itself synthesizes 5-hydroxytryptophan because the outside serotonin cannot enter inside the brain because of the blood-brain barrier, and serotonin is a stimulator for brain activity. So that is why whenever there is a deficiency of serotonin, it leads to depression. And serotonin is produced by argentophin cells of GIT, and when these cells undergo uncontrolled growth, that is known as argentophinoma. This can be asked as a question, and this was a question in your biochemistry test also. Normally 1% tryptophan is used in the formation of the serotonin. So 1% of the tryptophan is used in is converted into serotonin. And in case of your carcinoid syndrome, a very high amount forms the serotonin, and the tryptophan is less available for NAD and NADP. Hence the patient of the carcinoid syndrome are going to develop pellagra, one thing. Second, they are going to have high amount of indole acetate. So let's come to your melatonin. Is basically a hormone that is synthesized from the pineal gland, and the synthesis and secretion of the melatonin is controlled by light. So melatonin is involved in circadian rhythm or diurnal variation. This can be asked as a question even in your physio, in hormones also. And melatonin plays a role in sleep wake cycle. So you don't have to confuse between melatonin as well as melanin, because melanin is responsible for the pigmentation obtained from the tyrosine, and melatonin is obtained from the tryptophan, and it is involved in your sleep wake cycle. Next is your Hartnup disease, and again Hartnup disease is because of the hereditary disorder of tryptophan metabolism, and it is characterized by low plasma level of the tryptophan and other neutral amino acid. And whenever there is lesser metabolism of the tryptophan, less niacin is formed, and pellagra like symptoms can be found in these diseases. So sulfur containing amino acids are basically, you have to remember the names, that is methionine, that acts as a precursor of cysteine and cysteine. And cysteine and cysteine, they both are interconvertible and they are non-essential amino acid. And once you have cysteine, it spares the requirement of methionine in the diet. The concept is same like phenylalanine is converted to tyrosine, and tyrosine is a non-essential amino acid, and the presence of tyrosine can spare the requirement of phenylalanine. The concept is same, and cysteine and cysteine are interconvertible. So they can ask you the question that cysteine is derived from your methionine. So cystinuria is important thing, and on it the question is asked, and it is basically because of the inborn error of your sulfur amino acid metabolism. And cystinuria is characterized by increased excretion of cysteine. So basically when cysteine is not metabolized, it leads to cystinuria. and a specific carrier system exists in the kidney tubules for the reabsorption of the amino acid, namely coal. They can ask you which carrier system is disrupted in your cystinuria. Answer will be your COAL, which carries your 4 amino acids, basically C से cysteine, O से ornithine, arginine and lysine. So when these are not basically absorbed from the kidney because of the some defect in the carrier system, then there occurs a disease that is known as your cystinuria. So you have to remember this with the mnemonic coal disease, cystinuria. I tell you, phenyl ketonuria, alkaptonuria and cystinuria, these are favorite questions of the examiner. So cystinosis, crystin crystals are deposited in the many tissues and organs in cystinosis, and in case of homocystinuria there is increased excretion of homocysteine. So this can be asked as a question, simple, even by the name you can remember. Next is your branch chain amino acid. So you have to remember the name of the branch chain amino acid, because they can ask you a question, which of the following is a branch chain amino acid. It's valine, leucine and isoleucine, and you have to remember that your leucine is ketogenic, your isoleucine is both glycogenic and ketogenic. So the mnemonic for both glycogenic and ketogenic is PIT2. We have just now read about your phenylalanine, okay? We have read about your tyrosine, we have read about your tryptophan, and next here we are reading about isoleucine. So these four are both glycogenic as well as ketogenic. So you can see that in case of branch chain amino acid, so they are basically your valine, isoleucine and leucine, and there occurs a disease which they can ask you, that is your maple syrup urine disease. It is because of your branch chain amino acids. So because of this is a metabolic disorder of branch chain amino acids, and this is because of the deficiency of enzyme alpha keto acid dehydrogenase. So I think you can appreciate in the picture alpha keto acid dehydrogenase, and there occurs your maple syrup urine disease, and here the urine basically feels like a burnt sugar or a maple syrup. That is why it is known as your maple syrup urine disease, and it is because of the deficiency of this enzyme properly found in your branched chain amino acids. Next is your amino acid histidine. You don't have to remember much about it, but you have to remember that histidase is acting on the histidine to split off the ammonia. So they can ask you a question like this, that histidine on decarboxylation from histamine. So which of the following amino acid on decarboxylation forms a vasodilator or something like that, or which of the following forms histamine, which reaction is involved, that is your decarboxylation. Arginine is a substrate for the production of nitrous oxide. Lysine is an essential amino acid, and lysine is a ketogenic amino acid, and lysine forms your carnitine. So they can ask you carnitine किससे बनता है, that is formed by lysine, and carnitine is involved in the transport of fatty acids to the mitochondria for oxidation. So we have read in the metabolism of lipids that carnitine is involved there. Another amino acid, that is glutamate and glutamine, they are non-essential amino acid, and alanine is again a non-essential amino acid, and it is involved in transamination, and serine is also a non-essential glycogenic amino acid. So next you should be knowing function of glutamate. First is that glutathione is a tripeptide, okay, and it also contains glycine, and next is N-acetyl glutamate, and this is a first enzyme that is involved in urosynthesis, that is formed from the glutamate, and glutamate is present in the clotting factors 2, 7, 9 and 10, and is involved in coagulation, and glutamate forms gamma amino butyric acid, so in the brain. So this is sensitive and irreversible. So that is basically, you have to remember the function of the glutamate, that's it. So we are done with the protein metabolism, and I hope so that I have made my part clear to you. So just focus on and study. The time is less, and yeah, all the best.